And then it says, I guess, yeah, now it says stop broadcast. So we're on. Um, yeah, Scott Sackett and I are here. There was going to be perhaps a guest, has a channel called Punk Hiro,
Oh yeah.
and I know a little bit about him, and I was looking forward to talking to him. But every time I give him the idea of how to get together, I suggest he follow me, I'll follow him back, and we can DM each other. And then
Right.
he doesn't reply to that idea. He says, "Yeah, let's get together." So he needs to further reply why that won't work for him. So
Well,
yeah,
you know what the deal is, Ellis. What I've discovered is, and I'm this isn't him necessarily. This is a lot of people is people like the idea of stuff, but then it just never happens. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm following us on YouTube, and it's all I'm seeing is your picture. Do we not have video?
Yeah, it's just my picture. Yeah, I do not have video of me tonight. I'm going to switch and share my screen when I start painting.
Oh, okay, okay.
See
Can
that
turn
this is
turn
the low effort way.
Okay, turn my video. Can you turn my video on? I want to show you something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll focus on you. You can only see me. Okay, you are getting your feed now, right?
I get my feed. Oh yeah, okay. Now, you know what this is,
Oh
obviously.
yeah, hardcover.
That's what I was going to point out. Hold
Okay,
on, let me turn a little light on. There we
sorry,
go.
I ruined
It's
your surprise.
no. That wasn't a surprise. I found this at Half Price Books a couple weeks ago. I think I emailed you. This
Yeah,
is a this is a hardcover, but it's a library. So the cover is printed on it. There's a guy I used to work with had a hardcover that was just like like a regular hardcover. His was missing the dust jacket, so I don't know if it had a dust jacket. This is what they call library binding on eBay or on online. Let's put it that way. These go for like 30 or $40. It's a little more expensive than the regular one, which is
yeah.
pretty cheap. But and I wanted to show you this because I picked this up. I thought it was pretty cool. I've been reading it lately, and I wanted to show you. I've been copying. Let's see, let me find it. There's a page, specific page I'm looking for. It's the page where it has all the stick figures.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here we go.
You see me showing you how to do mannequins.
Right here. Okay, so I'm gonna focus on this page. Okay, it's stick figures, right?
Right.
Now I'm copying these in my sketchbook, and I'm looking at this, and I'm going, these people are doing crazy things, right? This guy's like flying upside down. This is like maybe Spider Man. That guy's getting hit. That guy's
Uh-huh.
getting hit. Who knows what he's, you know,
They
and
printed it upside down, didn't they?
it's upside down.
Yep.
And I thought, is it only this edition? But my paperback edition is the same way.
Oh, how about that?
And
I
so
have never noticed that.
I've had the paperback edition since the early '90s, no, late '80s.
I mean, it's legit to say that they're upside down, but don't they work both ways, kind of?
They work both ways, but when you turn them upside down, all of a
They,
sudden the
they,
poses become
they,
poses and not just a
they,
random body flying through the air.
they seem to work better. And
Yes,
that's interesting. I'm going to have to get mine out and study that. I'll
I,
make a judgment about whether I
I'm
think it was a
curious. I
mistake or
forgot.
not.
I forgot what page it was. No, I think if you look at and then you turn the book upside down, you'll go, oh, okay, this is
Yeah.
Bushima probably did a page of doodles, a couple pages of doodles, and gave it to somebody who got shot upside down.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
and because of that, but now if it'd been a page with text on it, then they'd caught it.
Oh
But
yeah.
because of that
If it said
page,
"pal" anyway,
yeah, pow, or if it was
or
Stanley talking about whatever,
then it would have said "mop," I guess, or "mob."
yeah,
If it
mob.
was upside down.
That was the name of his company, Stanley's Mob. No, Stanley's Pow. You're looking at it upside down.
Yeah.
So I tried an experiment this week. This is page 17 of my comic,
Uh huh.
and I don't know if you can tell. I'll show.
I'm
I'll
seeing it pretty clearly.
I'll show you the two. That's 11. But I'll show. Okay, so typically what I do is I print my thumbnails on the back, right?
Right.
And then I use my light box and do it. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna try something different. And so this page I printed in blue.
Right.
I didn't print my thumbnails on the back, so I've not used my light box. And I picked this page because it's a page that I felt like I could ink pretty well. But and then I have a blue pencil, and I was going to kind of touch it up a little bit. I don't know if you can see my blue pencil. Touch it up a little bit
Yeah.
in some of the rough areas, some of the faces and that sort of thing. And I kind of went over the thumbnails a little bit to make it
Give
more
you a little more of a roadmap.
right. And I feel like it's faster, but I don't know if I'm going to. I spent more time setting this up than the other way for sure. So I don't
Well,
know.
I like the idea of the blue.
I see it.
Do the top three pages represent this? So you didn't find it resisting
No.
the ink? Okay.
In fact, for the bulk of it, one thing I did realize is I wanted a little bit thicker line, so I used this pen. Remember this pen you gave me a
Oh
while
yeah,
ago?
yeah, yeah.
And I've been dying to use this. I'm very reluctant to use markers on my pages because I find they don't dry very fast.
Well, the best marker in the world is that Marks a Lot marker for big, broad fills because it white goes over the top of it like a dream. It's great.
We'll see. I'm going to take it when I'm done with this page. I'm going to scan it and see how easily I drop the blue out. If the
Sharpies and Marks a Lot.
Yeah, if the blue drops out, then I may do it on the rest of the book. Because I'm trying to get the book done. After this I got 5 more pages, and
Wow.
I'm just
Congrats for being that far along.
oh yeah, and this is an issue 2 for anyone who's listening. So I feel pretty good about that, but I need to get and I've emailed the writer and said, hey dude, I'm about done with issue 2. You need to get on the stick because he hadn't written issue 3 yet. He knows he has a plot, I believe. I don't know how detailed his plot is, but he goes to comic conventions every weekend. He's a workhorse.
Well,
But
is it conditional that you have to have 3 issues or just 2?
I have to have 3.5 done before the publisher will be serious about
Wow.
discussion.
Could
Well,
just to
because
free yourself for other projects, couldn't you say, let's just do 3? Or is it
well,
absolutely that
no,
he's
no, 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 no. It needs to be. I want it to be. It needs to be 4. I want it to be 4.
okay?
He's got a. Have I not told you what's going on? I mean, issue 4. The girls, the angels, because the angels are perpetually broke, right? And so
Right.
they end up working with kind of this. They sign up with this group of demons, and the deal is well, we defeat our supernatural enemies, and they're your enemies too. So work for us, and you can and you can make money, And it's kind of a Faustian deal that they make. Well, in the end, what happens is in the next issue, this issue, they fight all these supernatural creatures at the food court at the mall. You'll see a cool panel. I don't know if you saw this.
Sure, sure. Let's see it.
I put this online where she's shooting the head of the devil that comes out of the Italian like pizza place.
Cool, cool.
I thought that was pretty cool. But so in issue 3, this is issue 2. In issue 3, the girls, they're like, well, we got to find a way to make money. So they get a job at a summer camp, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I did a podcast about camp. I always went to camp when I was a kid, and so they get a job as like camp counselors. Well, while they're there, this demon lady is going to possess a little girl at the thing, and so the angels are like, this is ridiculous. We can't deal with her, and so issue 4 is the big climactic thing, which the climax of the whole thing is a cross country race, and then I guess if the girls win, they get to go back to heaven or whatever. They redeem themselves somehow.
That's
And
how many movies have had that semi plot where
angels redeem themselves by cross country
yeah, where
race.
you're. I know it was a Warren Beatty movie.
Oh yeah, like Heaven Can Wait and that.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, and
well,
I'm trying to think how I guess
Well,
It's not the plot of A Wonderful Life.
I was gonna say, "It's a Wonderful Life" was kind of like that.
No,
No,
but
no, because it was.
just that just has a heavenly intervention. There's another one where a guy does miracles, and well, I don't guess it's that. It's rarefied enough that
Well,
person gets to. Is Constantine like that at all? Does he
I
have a
don't know.
chance to get out of his demon herding? I forget what his talent was really. I think
He
I like
saw
the
he
movie.
saw he saw demons, didn't he?
Yeah, he had something to do with him. He had to
That
wrangle
was
him in some way.
that the movie with Keanu in it?
Yeah.
I
I've
read.
seen it, and it obviously went in one ear out the other.
I saw I read an article, and he was saying that was his favorite role he's ever done, or his favorite movie he's
Yeah,
ever been in, or something
something
like
like
that,
that. Yeah, he really dug it.
which is kind of odd.
I
I
like
mean,
that guys, that brings out their Tarantino to say, hey, genre is fun. You know,
yeah. Hey, have you been? Are you're down for Friday, right?
I am down for Friday, and we are watching uh,
Sunset Strip
Sunset Boulevard.
or Sunset Boulevard? Yeah.
Sunset Strip might be more interesting, but
Oh no!
70s.
Whoa! What are you saying about my pick?
No. I'm looking forward to it. I like
Didn't
William Holden any day, all day. He's good.
Didn't you say you'd only seen it once for a film class or something?
Saw it once in that context. I was probably all self-conscious since that's my normal state anyway.
Self-conscious is your normal state?
Yeah, just being in a film class,
What made you self-conscious?
yeah, just being around people instead of just being in a theater. After all, being
Oh,
in a theater is one of those things where fairly often people will say something like, "Let's go to a movie." I say, "Not really." Those to me, that's usually a personal outing or something. People in the seat next to me, it's just like having somebody you don't know in a seat next to you. I find it distracting. You know,
really?
kind of.
You've been going to movies with the wrong people.
I've just about shushed you guys a couple times when we were watching movies at Barry's house.
For
It's
real?
almost. I forget what we were watching.
That's funny. You
Where
should
where,
do it.
where we'll get
You can do it Friday.
we'll get jokey or whatever while we're watching a movie, and I'll be like, "Let's watch the movie."
I'm trying to watch the movie.
Hold the jokes. Hold the
My,
jokes.
when I was a kid, we go to my
But I'm the
grandparents'
same
house.
way though. I'll tell a joke here or there.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we go to my grandparents' house, and the joke that persisted for years was because my grandpa would always go, "I can't hear the dialogue."
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's if it gets to you, I mean, it's like anything else. It's like a water drip. If somebody's doing something,
Yeah,
someone's doing something annoying.
I think we definitely got to my.
I'm one of these guys. I don't know how many are made like me, but if someone sits down next to me 2 seconds before the movie starts, and I can tell that they are going to be bad neighbors with some sort of habit. They arrived with just tubs of popcorn and crispy, crackly items in their stuff. I'm out of there. I get up and I find another seat.
Yeah,
I could have the best seat in the house.
Yeah, we don't eat at movies
Yeah.
generally. Michelle might get some candy occasionally, but I've never understood people that go to movies and they complain about how expensive they are, and then you get to quizzing them and they're buying like $30 worth of food.
Yeah.
And
There's
I mean, they're not cheap. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, yeah, you can control that. I think.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, people with kids. I kind of get it because kids, kids are kids. But I mean, I have friends. We have friends that will go to movies and you get a large Coke and popcorn and a hot dog and a pretzel and to me it's like, well, at the house, we in fact at the house, if Michelle and I are watching a movie, I won't eat. I will if we're like on a Saturday, if we're gonna watch a movie and cook, I will cook and eat and then watch the movie because I don't like. To me, it's a distraction to eat during a movie.
Well, I'll say that it's not like I'm such a purist. Movies to me more, it's totally time controlled. I will go to the end of movies. I skip all around.
Oh yeah, I'm like that too. I will if I'm watching a movie here at the house and it gets dull or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll tap
Amazon
out.
Prime has such a big inventory of these things that aren't barely, they're drug out of the basement from somewhere, and they're great though. I like that all this obscurity, and no doubt public domain. They got all these British films that are kind of like I would never have been exposed to otherwise. That they're part of what they offer on Prime.
My problem with Prime is I can never decide what to watch.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I've decided, Ellis, I've become terrible about making decisions about stuff like that.
Well,
I
yeah, I was on something where, I hope Barry doesn't feel like he wasted some sort of like free credit to get horror of Party Beach because I sent a link out that says, and he bought it, and I said, "Oh man, let's have a movie night sometime soon." And I don't know why I'll get an itch thinking I want to see something, but I would never, think I would, and I know I wouldn't spend $26 to see the horror of Party Beach. But it's one of those movies I saw when I was a kid that, I'm smart enough. No, I can't relive what I experienced then, but I want to see it again in its uncut form because the only way to see it now is made fun of by Riff Tracks and MST3K, and it's all cut up. They had some effective shocks in it, and
oh yeah,
it it would have been kind of cool to see it, those shocks in place, because after all, shocks are kind of funny if they
yeah.
it's like comedy. If it sneaks up on you and it shocks you, it can be kind of funny. The director Del Tenney has has done another one called I Eat Your Skin,
Oh
which
geez.
which took 6 years to release. It was originally called just like Zombie Island or something like that. It took 6 years to release, and that fascinates me. This director that went out, he made a little bit of a hit of himself in Hollywood as an actor. He appeared in The Wild One with Brando, but then he went back to wherever the heck he filmed all this stuff.
Sorry about
Oh, Florida,
sorry
one
about
case.
that.
Go ahead.
I got a phone call in
What's
the
up?
middle of that. Sorry. No, no, no,
Do you
no. I
need to
didn't
talk?
get it. I don't want to get it. No, no. I got a friend that calls me all the time, and
Gotcha.
it's no big deal. But um, I saw a movie. I watched a. Okay. On my problem with Amazon is I spend forever looking for something to watch. Right. So the other night and if there's previews, some of them don't have trailers. If they have trailers, that's helpful. But I saw a movie popped up on my feed called The Ghost Galleon. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's a
Uh-uh.
span. It's in English, but it's filmed
Oh, I know.
basically
Yeah, it's one of the
the blind
blind dead.
the Blind Dead
Yes.
trilogy, or no, whatever it is. There's four of them.
Yeah. I think they're
Quadrology.
called the blind dead.
They are called
It's
the Blind Dead.
how they're linked together.
Yeah, it's Templars that were blinded
Yes, Night
for
Templars. That's right.
that were for their satanic rituals, and they came back to life to extract revenge on the living, but they're blind, which I've never seen that. But I saw that, and then and I watched the preview, and it was kind of interesting and
Again,
kind of a real cheesy
it's got
way.
that Mario Bava kind of vibe of being these Italian guys that know how to make a movie. I mean, as
Yeah,
far as photography goes, yeah,
yeah. Anyway, so I watched that. I didn't watch Ghost Galleon. I watched the first one is the Blind Dead or something like
yeah.
that.
Hmm.
and I watched that. All four of them are on Amazon Prime.
Wow.
And so I watched one, and it's kind of one of those deals. I watched it late at night, and I was drawing in my sketchbook while I watched it, but it was still pretty good. I'll watch the rest of them. I think the galleon one sounded kind of interesting, but I think I got to work my way up to
I
it.
may, I may go for a little splurge on those myself. I know the thing that I have totally, I'm pretty indifferent on whether I catch up to it soon or not. I told you I lost my torrent access to Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Uh, just reading about it and seeing just clips of all the big events in it, I'm totally satisfied. I'm not going to mess with the trying to catch up and see the whole thing. In fact, I almost like it in synopsis form. It's like,
yeah. Dave was talking about it. He didn't he he's watched it all through. I've seen a little bit of it. I'm not really.
not
I
that.
don't have. Is it HBO? I don't have
Yeah,
HBO,
yeah, I
but
don't either.
I'd seen bits and pieces of it, and it didn't really do much for me. It was just too. I don't know. I'm more. There needs to be like a I don't know. It just seemed like a horror movie kind of. It's just
Yeah,
bad stuff happening and all the people in it are horrible, and it's hard for me to
yeah,
care about
they
them.
are typically pretty horrible. That was, or at least they have big arcs where something horrible is going to happen to everybody.
Yeah,
Even the super bad guys, you're going to. They had a couple of really super bad guys that it's like, who are you going to replace that guy with? Because by the time you kill them, it's like, wow, it's going to leave a hole in who we like to hate.
well,
So,
Dave was saying that I guess they wound down like how many years in like 3 episodes or something crazy. They've been building up all this stuff and it just kind of you know didn't stick the landing, according to
yeah,
Dave.
that's what I've heard.
But I mean, if you liked it, I'd read the books. I guess maybe I
Oh,
tried to work.
I've given Martin a shot with at least just one book, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, yeah, I don't care for it. I I don't know. My uncle, he's read all of them and then he's watched the series and all this jazz, but I don't know. It's weird how that caught on. That doesn't seem like something that'd catch on.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, sword and sorcery, forget it.
Yeah.
It's going to be like super limited in terms of like appeal. But I think that's what has happened is the what do you call it? The clock has turned or whatever. I forgot. I don't know what cliche I wanted to use, but I won't come to.
The zeitgeist is
Yeah,
like that. Well, I think
all the cosplaying and all the
well that
con type of
yeah,
mentality that goes on nowadays.
it hit that vibe. It's kind
Yes,
of like it's kind of
it hit its time at the right time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Doctor Who. I mean, when I was a kid, I watched Doctor Who, but who'd have thought that ever? I mean, when I was a kid, even as a kid, I knew that Tom Baker, those Doctor Who's were terrible, but there was nothing else science fiction on TV, and I love science fiction.
That's true. Yeah, I mean that used to be. You went begging for good science fiction back in the
Oh,
day.
yeah, on TV. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
And I used to watch it every Saturday night, but it astonishes me that people now are like, oh, I mean, they're and I mean it's legit. But it just is really odd to me. I've seen, and a lot of those newer episodes are on Amazon, but I can't. I've watched some of the. I would watch the Tom Baker ones because they had the right amount of cheese. To me, the newer ones I've watched are pretty cheesy, like the stories and stuff.
yeah,
But they have like a big budget now, so they take them. They seem more serious, but the stories are still dumb,
yeah,
And so it's like, well, I can take I can take I can take dumb if it's like a low budget and you're like, well, okay, it's Doctor Who, it's a television thing, it's not really a serious thing. But when it's like, yeah, people are just so ate up with it, and they're getting like tattoos and stuff, and which is fine. You can do whatever you want to do, but I just like, you know, they're re-releasing the Tom Baker ones on Blu-ray. You can buy like a season at a time. I thought about getting that first season.
That'd be interesting. Talking about dumb stories, I watched all 17 promo material things for the TV show, The Doom Patrol, which I didn't even know about. And it looks like they've got some of that dumb stuff done, because the Doom Patrol stories are dumb. But it looks like they've managed to bring some of it intact to the screen. I mean, it does look kind of dumb and fun, and it looks like some of the stories are similar anyway. I noticed that Elastigirl, as far as I could tell, she has evolved totally into a character that is Mr. Fantastic versus being able to be a giant, which I think kind of runs it. She was a workhorse of the comic book. She was always getting giant and doing feats of strength.
Oh yeah, she was the hero. I mean,
most often it depended turned on her ability to get them out of a scrape.
Oh, absolutely. She was. You know, it's interesting because I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. I'm a big Marvel Stan Lee guy. But man, Drake, say what you will about him or whatever, or the quality of the story writing or whatever, but he definitely did not turn her into a victim. You know, she wasn't the typical comic book heroine who's, you know, Reed
have to be picked up when she falls.
No, as often as not, she picked them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. She was definitely the workhorse of the. You know, I think they were all pretty. You know, that one, the one of the latest ones I read is the one where Cliff, the robot man, goes on that island. I forget who he's fighting, but he ends up basically like cannibalizing his entire body except for like his head, I think.
Yeah.
It's like the Monty Python skit kind of.
Yeah.
All I've got left is my mouth. Well, get over here, I'll bite you, or whatever. And
he somehow pulls it off. Yeah.
He pulls it off. They got to rescue him, but he manages to survive. Yeah, I want to do a podcast on Doom Patrol, but I got to do my one of my episodes, but I got to do a little more research. I want it to be a little more thought out, I should say. I want to do one on architecture, but I hadn't figured out how to pace it.
Doggone it, I was going to do some research. I worked today on writing until 5:00, so
Yeah, you said that.
In an email to you, yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this brush? It's not.
Have you seen Avengers yet?
I have not. Seems like I saw something where it said it was coming out on DVD pretty quick.
Well, I think Michelle and I are going to go see it Saturday. I told her we're having like massive plumbing work done here. The God, this is one of those stories about you got to be careful. It's like opening Pandora's box of plumbing. We have for any listeners that haven't been over my house, we have a 2-story house, my wife and I, and the upstairs we have 2 bathrooms, and they both have showers, and the main one we use is not the main shower that we use is the one that's not on the master bathroom. It's the one on the hall, and the shower started leaking. It started dripping. And so I told Michelle, I go, man, that shower's dripping. And so we kind of kept an eye on it, and it got to where it was just running. I mean, like almost a stream. And so Michelle called a plumber, and it's like, well, we could fix it, but we said, well, no, let's just have him put in. So we put in all new hardware. So we got this real nice faucet and drain and stuff, and which it needed because it had some other issues. But so we get this drain. Well, then Michelle's in there and she's looking and she goes, "Well, these tiles look loose." And so the plumber comes out and he says, "Well, I'll cut into the wall behind it and look and see what's going on." And because it's in like a little closet in our bedroom, so he said, "Well, I can cut that wall out and look at it and see." So he cuts the wall out, and apparently it's dripped in between there, and it's the board is all ate up. Because
Yeah.
he's like, "I'll just cut it out and I'll just brace it." Well, then he's like, "Oh no." So then it's like, well, okay, we need to replace the tile. So it's like, well, if you're gonna replace the tile, you might as well retile the bathtub. And so now, then it's like, if you're gonna retile the bathtub, you might as well remodel the bathroom. And so now, a job that legitimately should have cost, well, legitimately, we probably could have put a washer in it initially and saved it
Yeah.
for a couple bucks, and now it'll be thousands of dollars. Anyway, so they came out today and was messing with it. But Michelle, I'm taking off work next week, right? And so Michelle took off today to meet the tile guy, and she was here. He didn't get here till like noon, or no, 1:30. So she went to work and then she left, and she's going to be here. And so he took out all the old tile today, and tomorrow he's going to come in and he's going to replace like the sheetrock and put a membrane down and some other stuff, and then that has to set for like overnight. So then Friday I'm taking off. He's gonna come in and put the tile in, and so I tell Michelle, because I'm off work next week, I was telling Michelle, I think I want to go see Avengers. And so then she said, "Well, I want to go with you." So I said, "Well, do you want to watch?" So I was telling her she needs to watch Avengers,
Infinity War.
Infinity Wars before we go, so that she'll be up to speed. So I don't know if she's gonna have a chance. We're gonna try and go Saturday. I want to rewatch Avengers. I will probably rewatch it Friday after we leave Barry's. And you know what? Unless I'd have talked Barry into letting me watch it at his house.
There you go.
That'd be the thing to do.
And then we can watch the Horror Party Beach first.
Might as well.
I'm kidding.
I'm I'm off work, so I don't care.
No, life's too short for a Del Tinney masterpiece.
No, life's
Get in the way of your
of my sleep. What?
No, in the way of your Avengers viewing.
I don't know about that, but
Del Tinney.
But
what I can do. Yeah.
Do you have your screen on? I've been watching.
I'm painting on with.
I don't see your screen, Ellis.
Oh, you don't?
Well,
it should be switching back and forth. Here, I'll focus on me.
All I see is the icon of you.
Well, I'm seeing me as switching back and forth. I'll look at it on. Are you looking at YouTube or something?
I'm looking at YouTube.
Okay, well, YouTube rarely catches up to things properly, or won't until it's archived.
Oh, it won't.
It's fairly often. See if you click in the.
Oh, I see.
In the URL, and then hit, see if it refreshes.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine it's going through the way I see it. Sitting in my seat as the guy saying what's what,
Oh, what are you painting?
I'm just goofing.
It's a dude. He's doing, what's he doing? YMCA? What is that? I don't know what letter that is.
I don't know. There may be electricity coming out of him or something like that. Something
that's cool.
Something that makes digital easy.
Oh, gotcha.
Digital makes the hard stuff easy, and it makes the easy stuff hard.
I'm going to use that.
Oh yeah, well, tell everybody I came up with it. No, I didn't. That's an old one. That's really an old one. I think it came from Disney animators, actually.
Oh yeah, Disney. Digital makes the hard stuff easy and the easy stuff hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where it came from. My big thing that I wonder what happened here is like when I hit Alt for color pick just lately,
Yeah.
it's switching foreground versus background, which one gets picked, driving me nuts. I'm used to now I'm having to hit X to switch after I
Oh yeah.
get the color pick. It's annoying me. I gotta get that back to normal. It's not put. I must have done something in preferences or something, or it's just the way I built this brush. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So I'm off work starting Friday. I'm off for 10 days, man.
Wow,
I know.
what a job that you actually
So,
can.
oh yeah. Oh dude, you know how many hours of vacation I'm about to take to get this?
Yeah, I
No,
understand.
no. My actual vacation, I will take 8 hours of vacation to get this. How crazy is that?
Really?
Well, it's because there's 2 weekends and a holiday, and I have at my work we have time that you accrue for not having an accident, but you have to use it. You have to use it in a certain amount of time. And so I was trying to take. I haven't taken any vacation this year yet. So, but I last year I went to New Orleans and New York twice, so I used a lot last year. But I mean, I got about 200 hours of vacation, which yeah, and everybody's freaking out at my work.
Well, that's the deal. Most people aren't that secure where they feel like they can
If if
disappear that long.
if I can't, well, my work, and I encourage the guys to take their time because my thing is like, man, if you can't, if I mean, why do we give you vacation time if you can't take it? You
Yeah.
know. And I mean, I try and be I mean, and my boss doesn't even care. He's like, "Hey, you know what's going on. You're responsible for what goes on in your department. If you get it done, because I told him, I said, well, if I have to come in, I'll come in. But that was a lie. I wasn't going to come in. No, but I'm hoping to get this done. I have 5 more pages to do, so I should be able to do that. And then I'm hoping to watch some drawing videos and do. I want to fill a sketchbook. I want to show you these sketchbooks I got.
Yeah, let's see.
I told you I couldn't make up my mind. I can't make up my mind which sketchbook I'm going to draw in. That's when I go on trips. That's what I worry about is which sketchbook should I take? Okay, so Moleskine makes these sketchbooks. I mean, you know Moleskine, right?
Yeah.
But they make these floppy ones, and they're it's just like a paper cover, and I think they're like 96 pages or whatever. But you can buy a thing of 4 of these, and it's like $16, I think, or 3 of them. So they're what, like $5 or $6 a piece. And I've got this one I've kind of messed with a little bit, but I'm gonna when I get off work tomorrow, I'm gonna break open a new one, and it's gonna be like my secret practice sketchbook, and I'm just gonna fill it with like anatomy drawings and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna put any of the pictures on social media or anything. It's just all practice. And my goal is to work through fill up one of these, and I'm just gonna work in pencil too, because since it's soft and it's not super thick paper, but it takes pencil pretty good, you know. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna do on my 10 days off, or one of the things I'm gonna do.
There are people, anybody listens to this, there are people who say 10 days off.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not going anywhere, man.
For,
I
yeah,
know.
for
Think about
no,
this. If I had ever broke into comics, I would never get 10 days off. you know,
sure. Yeah. Couldn't
so
afford
it's
to.
like, yeah, I mean, unless I wasn't working, right? But yeah, so so, sometimes I listen to like podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts called uh, Cartoonist K-fob. Have you heard of that?
Uh,
You know what K-fob is? It's like
K
the
K-pop.
K-fab, I think is how you pronounce
Okay.
it. it's a wrestling term. It's what wrestlers would used to say to each other back in the day about, like, when about wrestling. It was their made up term for this idea of what really goes on in wrestling.
Uh-huh.
In other words, like, if they're around somebody that didn't, they would talk about, like, if instead of saying,
Hey,
hey,
Rube.
yeah, instead of saying, like, hey, we're gonna fake this match or something, they would talk about kayfabe, which is like the business kind of.
Uh-huh.
And so apparently, but one of the cartoonists is that guy that did the those X-Men Grand Design books. Have you seen those?
No. Uh-uh.
His name is Ed Piskor, I think is his
Oh,
name.
I've heard of Ed Piscor. Just
Oh yeah, yeah. He did the hip hop family tree books. But anyway, it's him and a guy named Jim Rugg, and I'm not sure what he did, but I know he's done some work. Anyway, what they've been doing, Ellis, is they've been going. They do this podcast. It's Cartoonist K-Fob, and I stumbled across it because they have a YouTube site or a YouTube. They have a YouTube channel, and they're going through old Wizard magazines from the '90s, which I love that stuff. I have a
oh
bunch of
yeah,
Wizards,
those are great
and
tutorials usually. Yeah.
well, and what they do is they talk about, like, they kind of contrast what the business was like and what it's like now and that sort of thing. And so it's a great podcast, and uh, I dig it because I was really into comics then, and but I see stuff like that where they kind of talk about just the business, and then I read books like that Marvel book and some of those other books, the Marvel, the Untold History of
Story.
Marvel,
Uh-huh.
yeah, or Untold Story of Marvel Comics, or whatever it is. And I realize just how crappy it is to work in comics full time, you know.
Well,
And I think,
that's the deal. They're trying to change that with all this indie financing. I guess that may revolutionize how anybody even thinks about being an artist in the very near
well,
future.
yeah, I mean that could
It's
be.
like having it's like people that were well thought of in publishing. It wasn't uncommon to get a big advance. Say, go out in the
Oh,
wilderness, give us a book.
oh yeah.
And so working ahead, if you establish trust with this audience,
Oh
you know
yeah.
that you're trying to develop this relationship with, and
Well,
I mean, who wouldn't prefer that to having somebody else edit you? But of course, all this stuff is going to work out. It's almost predictable. It's like the bottom line is going to come in as a verdict on most of this stuff is like, that guy could have used an editor.
yeah.
And that's the way most of it's going to end up being. But it's like,
Well,
I mean, but that's life.
sure.
You think you want it a certain way, and you get it finally, and it's the worst thing that could happen to you.
Well, that's what I think about a lot now when I think about all those conventions that I lug portfolios to and stood in line to show it to somebody at DC or Marvel or whatever. And I go, holy cow, maybe not breaking into comics might have been the best thing that ever happened to me, you know?
Yeah, it would come with its own toll.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. It would be very, very cool to be to be working in Big Two Comics, and if my email popped open and it was like, "Hey, do you want to draw?" I'd be like, "Yes." But also, I had the advantage of I have a good job, I have a savings account, I have a 401k. So, but I think about, man, if I'd have broke into comics back in, I don't know, 2000 or whenever I was really trying to, uh, God, I wouldn't have a lot of that stuff. I'd have
Oh no.
and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like, something like you say, sometimes the getting what you wish for is like the worst thing can happen to
Oh
you.
yeah.
which is kind of good because I mean that I think about it that way because like well and I mean I still tried. I mean I'm drawing a comic right now, so it's not like I'm not
No,
working.
it's a thing that you decided to get stick with and try to get better at, and it's a great little thing to be up to, you know.
Yeah, I mean I do spend a lot of time at it, and don't get me wrong, when I'm done with this book, I'm gonna breathe a sigh of relief, But I would not be happy if I didn't have issues 3 and 4 to draw. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm hoping that that takes off and that we get that there's more in the future. But I don't go. I don't feel bad about not doing it full time. And the great thing is the publisher that I'm probably going to end up publishing with. Him and I have talked about it, and he has a pretty good day job. And he's like, "Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with." Because a lot of people are like, "Well, if you're not drawing comics full time, you're not." He's like, "Man, there's nothing. If you got a good job and you can work comics in your spare time, your lifestyle or whatever allows it." He said, "Man, it's a great thing to do."
Well, I tell you, from their viewpoint, it's because I mean, here you are just happy to be working on basically spec, pretty much. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
so it's like,
Well,
where are they going to find that guy? You know?
yeah. Well, that was the thing is, I talked to him for a while, and he liked my work, and he was like, "You just need to find the right writer to work with, and you'll be." And so he's like, he thought about it, and he was like, "Dude, I know the guy you should do." And so he introduced me to my writer, and it's like the writer could have never afforded to hire me to draw this. Well, maybe he could have hired me, but he couldn't afford to hire a good artist to draw this. And I'm doing it, and I mean, I'm not making anything yet, but I'm half owner of this thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it'll do well for us.
That has its, I mean, obviously that's the only value a guy should shoot for nowadays is to be in on the IP. I mean, there's no reason not to be.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, legitimately, here's the thing. I could probably be rounding up work, and I had been rounding up work, doing pages for, oh, I don't know, 50, $75, whatever. But the thing is like at the end of the day, what did I have? I did so much work that never went anywhere, Ellis.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got paid, but I mean, I don't need $300. I need a book that has some legs to it, for
Did
400 or whatever.
did you go out and do the ghost tour thing with because you talking about freelance? So,
Oh, it was gonna be Friday, and we haven't been able to record in so long because Barry's been so busy
oh,
that
so
I
you have
I
you have to have skip it.
I must skip it. That's okay. I mean that I'm more concerned about the podcast than I am about the ghost tour. I mean, I wanted to go. For the
Um,
listeners or viewers, there's a friend of ours does a ghost tour of Oklahoma City.
and apparently they're popular. I think that's how he gets his
Yeah,
money for Okie Comics. I think.
yeah, he's a publisher for this thing called Okie Comics, and and I think he pays for the thing with his ghost tour. And I've always wanted to go. It's not a haunt. We're not looking for ghosts or anything like that. It's more a storytelling thing. And I really wanted to go because first day of my vacation, but the podcast comes first. Like I said, Barry's been so busy, and plus with us watching a movie and doing I mean,
He's
I
been in
mean,
kind of crisis mode too, right?
yeah, I don't know about I I don't know. I don't know if I'd term it crisis mode, but I think he's you know
Yeah, I'm gonna stick it on you and go get coffee if you need to talk in the third person or something. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
I'll pretend like I can't hear you. I'll go,
Okay, here we go.
Ellis, I can't hear you. Ellis, speak up. I can't hear you. If you've watched this before, I think this is like the third or fourth week Ellis and I have done this. And Ellis invariably always abandons me to go get coffee. And so, and traditionally, when Ellis goes and abandons me to get coffee, I use that as an opportunity to talk about what I'm working on. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Scott Sackett. I'm an artist. I have a day job. I work for a company that manufactures awards like trophies, and I am in charge of the department that designs and manufactures all of our medallions. We do medals, we do coins, we do belt buckles, we do police badges. The technical term for what we do is called emblematic art. I work with a factory overseas, and then I have people that that do the manufacturing there. We have a CNC machine, and they do the manufacturing there in the department, or actually it's in my department, but it's upstairs. Anyway, I'm over about half a dozen people. I recently got promoted, but I worked at the company for over 30 years. It's not like a lot of that kind of art jobs. It's not, a lot of people might kind of go, it's not really a creative job or whatever. But it puts food on my table. It pays me well.
Okay, I'm back.
You're back. Okay, I was talking about my day job. I like my day job a lot, actually, but I spend all my days answering emails or answering the phone, fielding phone calls, which I mean is fine, doesn't bother me. But
Well, work is always something that it's always going to have its challenges. Just getting up in the morning is pretty challenging, but I was rock solid at that. Man, I was always at work.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if you hire me, I'm going to be there. So I was good at that.
yeah, I mean I'm kind of I don't know if I'd call myself a workaholic. I certainly am. I think when it comes to art. Now, if I was mowing lawns or whatever, that might not,
Yeah.
But I mean, when it comes to doing art and like the stuff at my day job, I've done it for so long.
Dang it.
Oh yeah, dang it myself. I smudged
Well,
my ink.
I need to figure out. I'm going to dig into the preferences here and see what I've done that is maybe if I just right click on it.
What are you doing again?
Well, right now, when I press Alt and get my click, it puts the background, the how would you call it? This inferior color pick goes to the bottom, and your one that you should be using, of course, is on top. But
Yeah.
but it's backwards for me when I press Alt and do a pick. And I know there's an easy fix for it.
Oh, it's putting it to when you click, it makes it the
Yeah,
background color, not the foreground color.
I've hit some
You
hotkey.
Nah, you've got a hotkey hit, or you have it. Have you Googled it?
No, I'll Google it right now and talk amongst yourselves. No, I can do it.
Oh, okay.
No,
Or
I don't have to leave to do it. I can do it.
Are you watching the chat? I'm watching the chat.
Well, we don't
Scott.
actually have anybody watching this mess, do we?
Yeah, we do. A guy named Scott. I don't know. I don't want to butcher his last name. Shamir, maybe Shamir.
Yeah.
He's asking about my work. I work. We have a CNC machine, or actually we have two CNC machines, and we have two 3D printers in my department. The bulk of what I deal with is the CNC machine. And what we cut on the CNC machine is we cut a mold. Oh, we got a couple viewers.
Okay.
Alfonso Proudy.
Oh, yeah.
Don't have
Okay.
a,
I know that name. Yeah.
oh, you know Alfonso?
I think we follow each other on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, gotcha. Anyway, going back to Scott, I am not a machinist. I'm an artist. But I have a machinist that works. That I guess I'm his boss. And I what I do is I draw, or what we do in my department is we draw toolpath in Illustrator, and we send them to him, and then he will add depth to it, and then cut the mold for the various types of products that we make. And then some stuff we send overseas. It just depends on the product, and a lot of it depends on pricing.
Jobs Americans won't do.
Yeah, you made tools. Yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Again, this is to Scott. I have a friend that was a progressive. I don't think he was actually cut the dies, but he designed progressive dies or something like that. That's what we do, is more like a mold, like you think about like jewelry or something like that. Typically, it's cut. Well, it depends. We cut some steel dies, and we cut some aluminum dies, and we cut some stuff in plastic too. It just depends on whether it's what the final application is. If it's going to be cast or struck, we do dies for struck stuff. But
Well, I've got the wrong wording, I guess. Color picker doesn't mean anything but the window for colors.
oh yeah, that's the window that pops up when you're picking
Yeah.
a color.
How do I invert colors on Photoshop?
No, because you're trying.
No,
Well,
that ain't
X.
it.
Well, X will invert them. Hang on, I'm gonna look on Google.
What is the shortcut? Yeah.
So,
Picker always samples for background color. Here we go. I've got it.
did you got it?
Picker always samples for background. And so use the color picker to get color in the foreground box, but it always automatically goes to the background box. Can someone tell me how to fix this, please?
Did you?
Unless you have a stuck Alt key or something, and the color shows them by the Alt driver.
There you go. You got stuck Alt key.
No, it ain't it.
Do you have hotkeys loaded of some kind?
I don't know. I'm still reading.
I had a problem at work with my Photoshop when I was scaling images. If I held down Shift, it would not retain its proportions. It's exactly the opposite. And I don't know what I did. I turned on something, but every time I would scale something, drive me crazy because like, dang it. Did you fix it?
No, not yet.
So are we gonna hang out next week, Kenny?
I don't know. This film. Like I say, I'm finding the writing so distracting, but at the same time gratifying. I'm looking forward to getting back to doing a lot more drawing, because what the writing represents to me is I have successfully broken a bad habit that needed to be broken 25 years ago. I don't know how long ago. How long has the internet been around?
Social media has not been around 25 years, Ellis.
I guess not. But, so reboot the computer. God. That's the deal. When you get on these damn forums, I know there's a way to do it. I was hoping for a shortcut to tell me, instead of get all the idiots that are lined up on top. And
just hit X. Just hit X when you pick a color. That'll fix it. God. You've got. Hey, is your caps lock on?
Nope.
Okay, that was the thing that was screwing me up at work the other day.
Oh, well,
it's funny you say that about social media, though, because I've decided that on the week or in the 10 days that I'm off work, I'm not going to get on social media.
That is the genius way to do things.
I only do things the genius way.
Huh. Huh.
No, I just like, because I want to be working on stuff, and I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to sit here. I want to sit here and draw and listen to audiobooks. I don't want to be, checking Facebook and arguing with people, and not that I argue with
I don't
people.
ever argue with people anymore.
It ain't worth it.
I'll make the occasional sardonic comment on what I'm viewing or whatever, but
If it gets nasty or whatever, I'll tap out pretty quick, which just annoys people to death. Which I
uh,
think is pretty funny. They go, "Oh, see, I won."
you
Like,
win.
hey, congratulations! I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't know you, and I'll never talk to you again. And I literally could care less. No, I just want to, and I've kind of gotten to where I put a lot of stuff on Instagram and stuff, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Instagram is
People,
okay. Yeah.
well, people like it, but I just want to work. I just want to work on my craft. Oh, Scott said they have a list of hotkeys. Do you think it's a hotkey you've enabled, Ellis?
Yeah, more than likely. I more than likely have had Alt plus something else was pushed, and I'll I'll see what I got to do.
Yeah, that's the what was your saying about you can only screw things up with the computer? The computer makes difficult things hard,
Yeah.
or difficult things easy and easy things hard.
We have this guy that is on the drawn and quartered named Edwin Boyette.
Yeah, what's he? I've heard of him. What's he do?
Well, he's kind of like he's got the real silky voice. He's got a great voice, and
I don't care about his voice. I was worried about his art.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't do art. He every now and then he'll share his art. And unless he's teasing us, he does stuff that you would find stuck to a refrigerator under a magnet.
Oh,
So
really?
I think doesn't even start to declare himself an artist. Really, he's a
How do
guy
you
that
get
digs
involved?
comics and supports them, and is very good at PR and does that.
Oh, that's how he gave you guys money. That's how he. That's
Yeah,
how.
exactly. He's a valuable asset.
The
And
money
that,
guys
that's what he
always
wants to
are.
do. And apparently, that's what he wants to be. I don't think he's trying to climb up as an artist in any way whatsoever. He just digs artists.
Who can blame him? Who
Yeah,
wants to be an artist?
yeah.
What a horrible thing to do.
Well, but anyway, I was going to say, while we are doing those drawn in quarters,
Yeah.
Edwin's voice will come on making comments. See, that's the whole idea is you're here entertaining people. And so you're throwing digs around and all that. Well,
Oh,
as
yeah.
anybody knows that draws or does anything, the brain that talks and forms that sort of that's the different hemisphere. The brain that draws. So people that can chatter and draw have got something special going on because most of us it just gives us a headache to try to talk to people and draw at the
Well,
same time.
to be fair, I'm not drawing. I'm inking.
You're
So
inking. Yeah, that is a little bit different. Yeah.
yeah, inking is more like Zen like or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know. Hey, did you get any bad weather last couple of days?
It has, yeah, it's rained pretty good over here.
Well, I didn't. I mean, have you had any trouble with the weather? Is what I should say. By the
No,
way,
it hasn't blown anything down. I've got a set of one side of my roof has got some really bad shingles on it, but they really could be
do, do,
replaced pretty
do
easily.
they leak or?
No, they're just getting pretty gnarly looking. They
Oh,
could be
yeah.
replaced easy.
Yeah.
Where do I even find hotkeys at? This kind of stuff drives me mad. I used to just be driven crazy. I would think about what I was making as a game artist, and
Yeah.
I would hit some sort of impasse in Maya where I knew it had to do something that I wanted it to do,
Yeah.
and finding out how to do it. You either go begging to somebody that knows how to do it, which that gets old. Oh, it mainly gets old for the person you go begging to.
Oh, no, see, that's why you don't work with me because I encourage people to ask.
Well, yeah, You didn't work with some of the people I worked with then.
Well,
You become very aware, like
yeah, who the jerks
of
are.
people that are kind of tired of seeing you come along and asking for stuff.
Oh God, not Ellis again. Ellis, it's the hotkey.
Oh yeah, and that's what you would get from them. So you'd do your own look
So
at
you'd
the
be like,
help and all that.
well, yeah, that's unfortunate because, and I think a lot of artists are like that. There's like a competition kind of.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You haven't lived until you get in a pretty large company that's doing games. They they have their little cliques.
We
And like you like has been presented about comic books, I just saw the tip of it forming up. We had a couple. There were a couple that were involved in the fairly high up in the production of this one game. It was it was a Pixar licensed game. I think it was up,
okay.
and it was pretty obvious that they were players in that way. They were political, and they could kind of like have things their way just by being the squeaky wheel here and there and
Oh
doing
yeah,
things. But
yeah.
it did the rest of us no good, you know. The fact that
I think there's
they
always
were,
people like that.
yeah,
That's not artists though.
yeah,
That's office.
that is just
That's just being in an
corporate.
office.
Yeah, yeah, being
You
in an
know.
office. Yeah, that's right.
But I've where I at my work when I first started, I was in like the regular art department, which doesn't exist anymore, really. I mean, it kind of does, but not really. And there was like a dozen of us because we did a lot of stuff by hand still, so there's more people, and it was pretty cutthroat. We did a lot of stuff by hand, and so there was a lot of like there was a lot of competition, kind of. And there was a guy that had worked in the department before me, but he kind of got ran out because no one could take him because he was crazy. And so his name, I'm not gonna say his name, but his initials. Well, in fact, I don't remember his. Well, no, I do remember his name. His name was Joel. We'll call him Joel C. I won't say his last name, but and so he was this terrible artist, but he was real good at drawing the stuff that they needed to draw to make medals and stuff, to make product. But he wasn't really a good artist. He wasn't a fine artist or anything. But he kind of could do what they needed to do, and so he would get like recognition for that, and it would drive the other people who didn't really consider him an artist crazy.
Yeah,
And he was kind of hard to get along with, and he kind of had a temper and stuff. So they basically ran him out of there. They got rid of him. This is before I got there. So, but there was a girl that worked in there, and she had a real bad temper too, and she was just super snotty. And she was her grandfather had helped the owner of the company when the company was starting out. And so she kind of felt like she could do whatever she wanted to do, right? And eventually she got fired because they just got fed up with her crap. But she kind of felt like, hey, and she was a pretty good artist. She kind of had a niche that she worked in, but she did like fine art stuff, and she was pretty decent. She sold some stuff. Um, but if you were working on something that she didn't think was up to snuff, she kept a file. She called the JC file, and she'd make a copy of your artwork and keep it in there. And then anytime you got mouthy with her, she'd pull it out and embarrass you in front of everybody else.
uh-huh.
It's like, hey, this is, and if she saw something of yours that she thought was inferior, she would say, "Oh, that's going in the JC file."
Uh-huh.
God,
Man, yeah, that'd be rough
yeah,
to be around.
yeah. I mean, luckily it's not like that. Oh, if somebody did that now, I'd be so that them and I would have a serious talk because I don't put up with that kind of crap. But at the time it was a little more it was a little more Wild West back then, than it is now. Now it's a little bit different culture in the company as a whole, which is good. It's better. I tell some of these guys stories of what it was like, and then I tell them, yeah, and I'll tell them kind of like, well, we used to do this or that, and I'll tell them, yeah, but you got to remember at the time I was making $8 an hour, so it's a little bit better now. Hang on just a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ellis?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's up?
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Oh, no big deal. No big deal. Michelle just came in here and was talking to me. I'm reading the chat. I don't know. Scott said that's what I like about Mike. He liked that, in my opinion. I'm not sure. I don't know Mike well enough to know exactly what we said that prompted that. But
Oh, Mike Miller.
I guess he's talking about. Is there another Mike in your little group, in your little cult?
As far as I know, it's just Mike Miller is the guy that we all group under, and he does something that when he hands it over to Edwin,
Yeah.
it obviously I could probably hand it over to you, and so I wonder how that could be done. I need to research that. And
What are you handing over to me?
if I were to say wanted to disappear for a while, and
Oh,
for that matter, I'd just have you run things for a while. Let's see if I've got it here in some settings. Oh no, I'll break things if I go.
yeah.
Oh God, what did I just? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Oh yeah. Control room. Now
Control
I
room.
could probably. It's probably contained within here.
Hey, we got 2 thumbs up, Ellis.
Excellent.
And none down. That's awesome. 3 now. I give us a thumbs up.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's to be explored.
We can work that out.
Yeah.
So next week, while I'm off, assuming that my bathroom gets finished, I'm actually allowed to leave the house, because they're saying now they may come back on Tuesday that they're going to do. Today was demolition. Tomorrow's putting up membrane. Friday is tile, and then they got to be one more day of grout. So that may be Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday. But okay, so I'm going to go downtown one day and hang out. I don't know if you want to meet me then. Michelle and I promised Michelle that I would take her to Vast one day. You're welcome to join us for that if you'd like. That's not necessarily a romantic thing that we don't need you for.
Oh yeah. You don't need me for that.
No, it's
that'd be
not.
fun
No.
to get up
You
there.
can go.
Yeah, that's a restaurant at the top of Oklahoma City. It's pretty groovy.
For any listeners that have no clue about or are not from Oklahoma City, which is probably most of them. In Oklahoma City, the tallest building is a building called the Devon Tower. That's, what is it, 86 stories, Ellis? Is that high?
I don't think so.
Okay,
that'd be the Empire State
that's like
Building.
Empire State Building. Yeah, it's probably more like 60 stories.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the top of it, which is very high, I mean, like the second highest is maybe like 12 stories. Oklahoma City does not have a lot of real tall buildings.
No, it sticks out.
It sticks out. You can see it. I live probably 15 miles away from downtown. You can see it from my house. But anyway, at the top there's a restaurant called Vast. Well, there's a restaurant, there's a bar, but during the weekdays or during the daytime, they have a buffet that's actually fairly cheap for the food you get. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you get to go way up there. And my wife hadn't been there. Ellis and I have been there. Ellis has been there a couple times, haven't you?
I went there for the tour.
Oh, did you eat?
No, I think I've only eaten there the once.
Oh, okay. Well, Ellis and I went there, and my wife is jealous and wants to know why I took Ellis and not her. But to be fair, I did not pay. We went Dutch, so that was not.
Oh yeah.
I did not. There wasn't anything going on there.
No.
Anyway, on this 10-day vacation, I've said I'm gonna, because my wife works downtown or close to downtown, and so Ellis and I occasionally will meet downtown because Ellis Ellis is doesn't work. Ellis is retired. Can I say that? Is that a secret?
Yep. Living on that Social Security.
And
Living on the edge.
and I work half days on Fridays, and I get a lot of vacation. So I'll meet Ellis down there occasionally. We'll meet at my wife's work, and then we'll wander around downtown because there's a lot of cool stuff to see.
Always go to the library.
We go to the library, and we go eat, and we go. There's tunnels downtown. Ellis doesn't like the tunnels. I like the tunnels.
I'm getting to where I don't like the tunnels, especially with good weather.
I think you're claustrophobic. I like the tunnels.
Usually it's kind of, at this point, it's a been there, done that thing.
There is new art down there. They painted some new murals. But
let me make sure. Oh, it's stuck on me. Hey, did you know you aren't broadcasting your art anymore?
Oh, I'm not? What am I broadcasting?
I don't believe so. Yourself. You've gotten down to just your logo.
Oh, I have. Oh, you know why?
Why? Oh, now you're back. Now you're back.
Because my phone.
What'd you do?
Well, it popped up because of my battery's low.
Oh.
We always run it. I have it on a charger, but
I bet you we've been on for.
It's 9 o'clock.
Okay, well, we've been on for a while. Why don't we kind of wrap it up? We've basically said tonight we are just sticking to the schedule and then did a show. Yeah. That's all it was.
But hey, thanks for anybody that's watched this.
Yeah.
No,
it's really cool. We'll try to up the level of professionalism someday, maybe. Maybe.
Maybe we may have to. We may have to do one of these. Well, I wonder if you could log in on my phone and we could do one of these like on the road or something.
If you've got a YouTube channel, wherever you're at, you can do one of these. It's pretty easy. I'll give you the tutorial.
I'd have to do it on your channel. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ellis, I'll see you Friday.
Sounds like a winner.
Are you gonna come up? Are you gonna drive up here early again?
The usual. Yeah. I'll probably. Well, not super early or anything, but I'll.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. I don't know. I may have a plumber here or a tile guy here.
Okay.
I may contact you.
Well, we always try to synchronize our watches on the day of. Yeah. We'll get it done.
We'll get it done. I got one more day of work, and then I don't care what happens.
Okay. The next time you see me, I will know how to switch the color picker thing. Okay. We'll see you.
That's your mission. See you, man. I'll talk.
Take it easy. Stop broadcast.